everyone, my name is Emily and I make book videos. In that same vein, today we are going to be doing something that is always painful to do, but if you're anything like me, it's just necessary, and that is unhauling a lot of books. I have like 30 that I'm unhauling, and I thought that that was a good enough number for me to record. I hate unhauling books, but it has to be done because if you know me, you know that I am very sentimental about pretty much everything I've ever owned. And I've just recently graduated college and I've come back to my childhood bedroom and I have so much stuff that I am trying to get rid of, that books are just a necessary evil that has to go. I also had a period of my life, for most of my life, where I would just buy books and then not read them, and they weren't even something I was really necessarily that interested in. I was, obviously, or else I wouldn't have bought it, but I now am not interested in them. My taste has changed and whatever. So what you get for being a reader for a very long time in your life is that you start to just collect a lot of stuff that you're like, I'm never gonna read this. So my plan with these is to do an unhauling video, obviously, and then to donate them either to my local library or Goodwill or the little libraries that I have scattered around so that they can all find homes with people who will actually read them and enjoy them, which is my hope for all of these books. Okay, I think that gets everything out of the way. Without further ado, let's unhaul some books. First thing I'm going to say before I actually start unhauling this first stack is that all the books could be divided into a couple different categories. Let's say there's 3 categories. There is, I don't know why I have this, and I have it on accident. I bought it and I never read it. And I read this as a child and I don't know why it's here. Or a secret fourth, which is I read it and I don't like it enough to keep it. So, the first one that I have is Poetry 180, Turning Back to Poetry by Billy Collins. It's an anthology of contemporary poems. I think I thrifted this. I don't really read poetry. I don't know why I have this. There was a period in my life where I was like, yes, I'm going to read poetry. It didn't last very long, obviously. I remember flipping through here and thinking that there was a lot of really good poems, but I don't have room for this on my shelf, and I have other books that I care about a lot more that would rather take its place. I have How to Be Perfect by Mike Schur. This was actually, I have this because I was a peer leader at my university, and this was their first year reading experience. My first year of being a peer leader, and we did not end up reading it. I have not ended up reading it. I wanted to. I had every intention actually of reading this, but I'm not going to. I'm just not going to, and it needs to go. Next, I have 5 Total Strangers by Natalie D. Richards. I read this last winter and I did not like it. I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine, but not enough for me to lend it out to anybody, not enough for me to keep it on my shelf because I liked it. It's not worth it. And I had this on my shelf for so long and then finally read it, so it's hilarious now that it's seeing its demise. Okay, next is another book I thrifted. This is Drowned by Junot Diaz. This sounded really interesting, that's why I bought it, but there's a catch, and that's that out of all the books I'm going to pick up on my shelf to read, I don't think it's going to be this one. If I think about it too long, I'll probably save it, and I have so many other books that are, I have 2 full bags of books, and I have no more bookshelf space. So, I gotta, something's gotta give. Okay, do I wish it was not this book? Probably, because now I'm like, well, maybe I'll read it. So, if this book comes out of this pile, I'm sorry, but for now it's in it. Yeah, I can't think about it too much. I may actually read this one. Next is kind of, I think maybe a shock to a lot of people, but that's Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I have never read this. I heard that you had to read it to read Six of Crows, which is what I actually want to read, but I'm not a huge, fantasy fan. And I heard that this one's, not that great compared to Six of Crows, so I kind of just want to read Six of Crows and not read this series. I bought it because I thought I was going to read it, but I have heard no one be like, wow, Shadow and Bone is just so good, and Six of Crows is meh. It's you have to read this to get to like Six of Crows. But I think I may just SparkNote it, which sounds really bad, but I just have no desire to read this anymore. Next is The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. This is a holiday romance. I read it. I thought it was cute. Not enough to stay on my shelf. I'm sure there's some like high schooler who will love this. So next is another book that I read and loved, and this was Watching for Comets by Jordan Green. I read this. I lent it out to people in high school. It's a cute little romance book. It's, I'm pretty sure, self-published or small, like super small indie publishing. I follow this guy on Instagram, and that's how I found out about it, but I don't have any desire to keep this copy, and I'm sure there is someone else who will find it and be like, oh my god, I like it. Next is The Bad Bachelor by Stephanie London. I've never read this. I don't know why I own it. I obviously bought it on sale at Target, but if I'm gonna read like a kind of like kitschy, shitty romance book, I don't think it's going to be this one. For a long time I kept it because I thought that maybe I would, but I have so many other like actually good like rom-com kitschy romances on my like shelf. I don't need this one. Next is another book that I thrifted. I think at the same time I thrifted my other poetry book. This is Leave This Song Behind. It's teen poetry, which is really cool. It's like an anthology of teen poetry, which is what drew me to it. I thought that that was so dope. I'm not ever going to read this, unfortunately. It's really cool though. Okay, that's stack 1 done of 4. Next stack. This is a really interesting lineup we have coming. I have the Stanislavski system, period. This I have this on accident. Yeah, I rented this for my theater class because I needed it, and then realized I did not need it because she was going to put all the PDF versions online, and then I forgot I had this, and it sat in my backpack all year. I took that class spring of my junior year of college, so I've had this for that long, and I have no need for an entire book on the Stanislavski method. I don't. I think he's just sleeping. I'm looking at my hamster right now. I hope that motherfucker's just sleeping. Oh yes, I'm seeing him breathing. Next is What Happened to Goodbye by Sarah Dessen. Sarah Dessen was a big author whenever I was, like, I guess in middle school, and I bought one of her books because everyone used to talk about Sarah Dessen books, and they used to be all over the place. And I never read it until sorority recruitment my junior year of college. And it was, like, fine. Next, this book is, like, kind of hefty for it to be, like, I don't know, this is a hefty, whoever printed this spent a lot of money on this copy because it's hefty. Who? Quirk? Quirk, who you owned by, girl? I don't know anything about Quirk Publishing. Also has white pages, which is nasty to say the least. But anyway, the next book we have on my list is Geekarella by Ashley Poston. This I loved whenever I read it. I read it, I don't even know, in middle school or high school. Like early high school, late middle school probably. I really loved it. Thought it was really, really cute. And it's kind of fun because it takes place in Charleston, which is where I'm from. There's other books in this series, I think. I obviously have not picked up any of the other ones. I read this so long ago, and I enjoyed it whenever I read it, but there's no use for me to keep it. It's just so outside of my age range now. I just don't read stuff like this. So, bye. Okay, next is The Duff by Cody Keplinger. I got this on sale at Books A Million for $2. And so obviously I was like, yeah, you're coming home with me. I think I read this. But it was after I watched the movie. Because, say what you want about the movie, it's like really kitschy. But I love it. I love it. I think it's so stupid. But I think that, like, whoever the two divas they cast in the, like, as the main cast, like, they kill it. I think they're really good. This book kind of sucks. I don't really know how I know there's a lot of stuff that they changed from the book to the movie, and I think Wes, is that his name? It's gotta be Wes. It's always Wes. It's always Wes. I could never remember his name, but Wes. classic YA rom-com lead. He's kind of a douche in this book, but I don't really think he's that much of a douche in the movie. I think they kind of changed him to be a little bit more nice. But yeah, so I read it, it's fine. Like the movie better, and I'm not keeping that book. Next is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I started this, and I just never picked it back up, and I just don't really have any desire to pick it back up. I love both of them. I think they're both great authors. I think I would have enjoyed this had I would have continued it, but I just did not really feel like driven to continue it. These next two books are books, I mean, they fit in this category of like, I don't know why I still have them. And one of them is Lights, Camera, Cassidy by Linda Gerber. I read this book, and I remember it altered my life as a 12-year-old. I loved this book. I could not tell you why, and I don't even know. I have a huge knack for finding books that no one's ever talked about ever. I've never heard anyone talk about this book. And there's two others in this series, and I could never find them. And I loved it. She, like, traveled to Spain and, like, had this, like, whole, like, host family and all this stuff, and she's, like, a celebrity, and she ends up meeting this boy, and I remember a lot about this book because it altered my life. So, yeah, but I don't need it anymore. Yeah, this, like, totally changed my life whenever I was 12. Anyway, another one. I bought this one from the Scholastic Book Fair. I don't know why, dude. I still have this. I don't know. I have no idea why I still have the Ever After High book. I remember it being kind of baller. Like, I remember it being, like, not bad. But I don't know why it's still here. I think it was hidden behind a lot of these books because I just have obviously no desire to keep that. Next. Okay, this is where things get a little tough for me. Okay, the next book I'm unhauling is this beautiful water-damaged copy of Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. I think this copy is gorgeous. I hate that it's water-damaged. I read this for my freshman year English literature class, British literature. I hated this book. And I really wanted to like it. I had every hope and dream in my body that this book would have been life-altering for me, okay? Instead, it makes absolutely no sense, okay? I even dissected this in a class full of English majors, and none of us, except for the professor, got it. And maybe that speaks to, like, some level of stupidity, but it does not have chapter breaks, which is fine, but the way you're supposed to be able to tell time throughout the book is through the dings of Big Ben and the clock, which is, like, something that I guess, like, I know I've seen it being played on in other media where they're like, oh, it's pulled from Mrs. Dalloway with the Big Ben and telling time and whatever. Something else very recently I saw that. They also have these nice little things. They're not, I can't remember what they're called, but they're, like, metaphors that start in one point of view and then you'll move to, like, another point of view for a brief second without any kind of warning. Sometimes even mid-sentence. There were instances of mid-sentence POV change. And you'll pick up the metaphor, like, 3 or 4 pages later. It genuinely is a mindfuck. This is, like, the most difficult read I've read, and it sounds stupid because I wonder if I read it now if I think the same thing, but I remember reading it and I was like, I don't know what is going on? Like, okay, see, look, these are all my notes from Mrs. Dalloway. Like, okay, yeah. Like, all of this stuff. Use her traveling metaphors. Oh, see, look, now we get the notes, we get the proof. Okay, traveling metaphors. Let me redo this. Woolf's writing style offers us a unique type of extended metaphor, and we may be better to understand these metaphors as traveling metaphors because of their fluid movement through time and space. In addition to moving through space and time, these traveling metaphors also often mutate as they go. That is, the subject or object of Woolf's extended traveling metaphors will often change as the metaphor progresses. Therefore, the identity of a subject or object is fluid in terms of its boundaries and affiliations with other subjects and objects. Perhaps we should think of her extended metaphors as both traveling and mutating metaphors. which is really cool if you get it. And I'm sorry, I'm too stupid for that. I literally don't get it. Maybe now that I know all this, I'll go back and read it. Maybe. Because now I read that, I'm like, well, it'd be kind of cool. But I remember I read it and I was like, oh my god, I don't get any of it. Whatever. It needs to go. Maybe. Maybe it'll just go down to my parents' shelf where all the classics live, and I'll read it later. Next is Story Thieves by James Riley. Had it forever. This is a middle grade book. There's no reason for this to be on my shelf anymore. Next is Black Widow Forever Read by Margaret Stoll. I bought this on sale, and it sounded interesting, but I'm never gonna read it. Like, I used to be a very big Marvel fan. I'm less of, like, a Marvel fan now, especially if I like Marvel. It's a lot of like this stuff, like the old classic Marvel. Is Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. I think that's what it says. I tried this. I didn't really like it. People have mixed feelings about this anthology. I don't like it. I got so very brief into it and was like, I don't like this. And you also get, it's such a like short time span that you can read holiday romances and holiday related books. So I don't know if this is ever going to be the one that I pick up whenever there's like countless other like holiday romancy books that I would rather read. Another one I've had since I was a child. No reason for me to have this. I loved this book though. This was another one that like altered my brain chemistry. If you don't know anything about these two divas, they're twins. And they sometimes will switch places, and they're really cool, and they have a bunch of stories, but this is the one where they go to New York City for a school trip, and both of them go separately on separate, like, they go for separate reasons, and they, like, get switched up, and, like, whatever, and there's some romance, and it's cute, okay? It's a really good little cute book from what I remember. This, like, screams to me whenever, like, things in my life were whole and, like, peaceful, and I was a child. Like, that's what this book gives me. So unhauling it is kind of hard, but I don't need it on my shelf anymore. So it's gotta go. Okay, another one that needs to go. Did I Mention I Love You by Estelle Mascamé. I don't know why this is still here. The second one may be floating around here somewhere, which I need to get rid of as well if it is still here. But I think they're step siblings. And that says enough of that. I didn't even like it whenever I read it. So I don't really know, like... Also, I should also clarify, it was a Wattpad sensation. So, I think that's probably how I found out about it. I was like, oh, it's a Wattpad book. And I bought it, because I thought it was going to be, like, a fun... Like, I would have fun while reading it, as in I would think that parts of it were hilarious, but instead it was just boring, so... Anyway. Okay. Ugh. Our last stack. I'm sitting here in like the worst pair of pants that I own, so sorry about that. First book in this very last pile is Selected Poems by Gwendolyn Brooks. I read this for, I believe it was, oh god, I think it was my advanced writing class in college, and it's cool. I have a lot of things underlined. Very cool, like, look at use of syntax and all kinds of stuff. Like, definitely worth the read, for sure. But I've read it now, and I don't need it. And I don't really read poetry. There's a clear reason why Gwendolyn Brooks was the winner of the Pulitzer Prize for these selected poems. I mean, they're just beautiful. But if there is a place on my shelf for this, I would have kept it. But there's not. And there's other things, as you can already tell, that are probably coming back to my shelf after this video, including but not limited to. Anyway. Next is a arc of chemistry lessons by Meredith Goldstein. I picked this up at, I think, YALLFest, which is a literary festival in Charleston, and I've never read it, and I also have never seen the actual book of this come through. I don't know where it is or where it lives, but I've never seen the actual copy. It's YA. I'm not going to read it. Next is another one that I've had for so long. There was another book by this woman that, like, blew up, Since You've Been Gone. And all of her books are, like, the size of a crater on the moon. I don't know why they're this big. This is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. I'm not gonna read it. I got this one also on sale whenever I went to a Books a million years ago and bought it whenever I bought the Duff. Okay, next is I'm doing these two together. I've never read them. This is Spelled and Wanted by Betsy Show. There may be another one in this series, but they're like fairy tale retellings. Cool. Not my cup of tea anymore. Were my cup of tea when I bought these whenever I was in middle school. Next is The Novice by Taryn Matharu. I should have looked this up before I said it, but this is apparently I think this is a pretty sizable series. Like, people really like it. I will not be reading this. I don't really read fantasy anymore. If I do, it's like very specific fantasy, and it's not going to be this. Okay, I think whenever I bought this, I expected there to be romance, and there was not, and so I never read it, and it just sat on my shelf. Period. Last but not least, I have another ARC on sale May 2018, so that just shows how long I've had this. This is The Accidental Bad Girl by Maxine Kaplan. Again, another book I've never seen come to full fruition. I don't even know where this exists or lives. I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to read this. So that is why it's leaving my possession. Okay, well, it feels good to get all of those off my chest. Hopefully, these all find some really good homes. I am going to plan to do that very soon, but I had to do an unhauling video so I could get them out of my room so I could start bringing in more of my books. And if you guys would like to see the books that I brought to college with me and what sat on my college shelf and why, I will do a video on that, because I think that I was very specific about the books I picked for college, so I thought that could be like a cool video. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and this is your sign, if you need to unhaul some books, to go do it and to purge your shelf. It's going to be fine. They're going to find new homes. And especially if you're someone like me now, like, I don't ever really buy new books. I only buy secondhand, or I use my library. So it's nice to get rid of these because I'm not compulsively buying books anymore like I was at a period in my life where, like, I can tell you, like, a couple of these, I know that they came from the same book buying trip, and there was no reason. I never read any of them. Also, just goes to show how your tastes change as you age and what decides to stick on your shelf and where things decide to live before you decide to get rid of them. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to, you should subscribe, because I'm going to be making a lot more book writing post-grad videos. Alright, see you later, bye.